Here at Wealthy Expat, we help high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals all over the world obtain second citizenship. We help obtain citizenship in less than 90 days in some cases. I personally obtained 4 new citizenships. I renounced my US citizenship. I love passports and citizenship. And I'm always trying to get one more. I'm always trying to collect more and more passports. Some people collect Lamborghinis. I collect citizenships. Now, there are some citizenships that I've stayed away from and that I want to caution you against because although they might be easy to obtain or fast to obtain, or you can obtain them by just getting residency, in some cases even remotely, in a country, and after a couple of years you go to that country and you pick up your passport, that's an easy citizenship and it might have good access to the world, although it's not going to be one of the top passports in the world. To get really one of the top, with the exception of Malta, you're going to actually have to spend some time in one of those countries or be an exceptional person and get honorary citizenship. What are the countries that I'm against getting citizenship and I tend to not recommend? The first one would be Armenia. Now, I've gotten offers to get Armenian citizenship by exception, citizenship by starting a business in Armenia. And there is a way to get citizenship in Armenia after 3 years without actually having to live in Armenia. All you really need to do is to start a business, you invest some money into it, and although the money isn't a specific amount, it's gonna be around 50, 60,000 US dollars invested into your own company. You're not even donating that money to the Armenian government, and you keep that residency and you essentially get permanent residency by investing that money into your company and then going through that process. You need to go to Armenia potentially once or twice a year, really. Like, you won't really have to commit that much time in the country. And I personally already been to Armenia, so I might as well go again and get that citizenship. You start the process, you start the business, you invest some money into the business, and then you go, let's say, once or twice a year. And then after 3 years, you can pick up your Armenian passport. And they even offered me Armenian citizenship after a couple of months if I start hiring people in Armenia. Why did I say no? First of all, Armenia is currently under a military conflict with Azerbaijan because of Nagorno-Karabakh. And I've talked to a lot of Armenian citizens that actually become our clients, and they want to get some other citizenship. I personally know one Armenian citizen who is my friend. He got St. Lucian citizenship, and he's also getting other passports around the world because he wants to get away from Armenia because they have mandatory military service. Now, obviously, just like other countries that have mandatory military service, you can easily pay to get away from this. Like in Turkey, for example, Turkey has mandatory military service, but if you get Turkish citizenship by investment, you have an exception. And also your children and grandchildren can just pay a small fee to get out of the military. In Armenia, it's a lot more enforced. You can pay to get away from the military, but you never know when they're going to pull everyone in and they're not going to allow you to leave the country, or they might not allow you to renew your passport because they have a current conflict and that conflict might expand as well. So I really see it as a risky passport with also not that much upside because you don't have access to the Schengen area. You really don't have access to that many countries around the world. You have access to some countries in the east. You can't really go to Azerbaijan, and I like Azerbaijan. I like Baku, and although I like Yerevan as well, being an Armenian citizen just comes with so many drawbacks and not that much upside, although it's an easy passport and an easy citizenship to get. Adding to all of that, Armenia is also pretty bureaucratic, and there might be a lot of delays or issues in that 3-year process when you're getting that citizenship. So let's say you go through this route where you start a business, you invest some money in there, and after 3 years, you can pick up your Armenian citizenship and your Armenian passport. That might be delayed by, let's say, 1 more year or 2 more years. Or they might say, actually, you haven't really spent any time in Armenia. You don't have any employees in Armenia. You don't have any investments apart from the money that you put in the company. We're actually not going to approve your citizenship. So starting a company, putting this money in there, not even getting the citizenship approved. And if you get the citizenship approved, it has mandatory military service and it also doesn't have good access to the world. I just tend to stay away from passports like this, even though I wish I could just keep collecting and collecting and collecting more citizenships. The next country, although I talk about it for residency and I talk about it for retiring as well, for permanent residency, it works out pretty well. That is Uruguay. It's a stable country. It has a solid passport. If I could get Uruguayan citizenship without having to live in Uruguay, I would get an Uruguayan passport. It's part of Mercosur. It's a good option for World War III. It's far away from all the chaos around the world. It's a stable country. It's relatively safe. I speak native Spanish. Trust me, if I could get this passport without all the headaches that I'm going to talk about, I would definitely get it. Now, the problem with Uruguay comes with multiple different things. The first one is that it takes a lot longer than what it actually should take. So let's say you go to live in Uruguay, you get permanent residency, you start living there, let's say 9, 10 months a year. After the years, when you should get citizenship, they might actually say, oh wait, you don't have enough ties to Uruguay. We don't want to naturalize you yet. There's been people that have been living there for over 12, 15 years, and they're still not Uruguayan. And let's say that you actually naturalize as a Uruguayan on your passport, and actually the government is getting sued for this, so they might actually change this. But on your passport, under nationality, if you weren't born in Uruguay and you naturalized as an Uruguayan citizen, it actually shows your origin nationality. So let's say originally you're Canadian and you get your Uruguayan passport after 11 years of living in Uruguay, and it's also pretty tax-friendly. You can live a pretty tax-friendly or even tax-free life in Uruguay. Let's say you live there 11 years. On your Uruguayan passport, it will say under nationality, Canadian. And that confuses the hell out of border guards around the world, and they might think that it's either a fake passport, or they might think that the passport wasn't issued properly, or they might just give you a lot of troubles around the world. So on top of it taking a long time to get your Uruguayan citizenship, on top of it being very bureaucratic, and also it might be a hassle to get all the documents to get your Uruguayan citizenship approved, when you actually have your Uruguayan passport, it's going to be hard to actually travel with that passport and use it all over the world if that's your plan to get a second passport in order to use it. So not only is it hard to get the citizenship, not only there might be delays and it might be very tricky to get that citizenship, and also the government doesn't approve everybody that actually applies for citizenship even though they've been living there for a long time, it might also be hard to use the passport. So the only real case when I would send somebody to get a Uruguayan passport would be if they have Uruguayan descent. So we have a client, for example, he's Australian. He was born in Australia. He speaks with an Australian accent. He is full-blown Australian, but his dad was born in Uruguay. Therefore, he's a Uruguayan citizen by birth. And he, the client, who's Australian, can get Uruguayan citizenship by descent. In that case, it was very easy to get that Uruguayan passport. He also has a Uruguayan last name, so it's a pretty straightforward process. If you want help picking your perfect second citizenship, we actually do one-on-one complimentary calls with all clients. Doesn't matter if you're worth 1 million or 200 million. We can go through all the options on a one-on-one call. You can book that with the link in the description, and maybe we will find your perfect passport. Although this isn't one of the big 3 countries that I'm going to talk about, similar to Uruguay, Paraguay is also pretty hard to naturalize in. There's a lot of people saying, oh, you can easily get Paraguayan citizenship. Just get your permanent residency. In a couple of years, you pick up your Paraguayan passport. If you go to the government statistics, you will see that a very, very, very small number of people actually get approved for Paraguayan citizenship. Sometimes it's less than 100 people per year that get Paraguayan citizenship by naturalization. So actually becoming Paraguayan is tough. And it's going to be tough, especially if you live outside of the country. So if you really want to commit to Paraguay, you want to live in Paraguay more than 6 months a year, you want to invest in Paraguay, you want to have kids in Paraguay, you want to marry a Paraguayan, then obviously go for the Paraguayan citizenship. But in all other cases, if you just want to have it as a tax residency and you're going to be there 2 weeks a year, don't expect to get your Paraguayan passport. And the last country here, very popular citizenship by investment program, it's going to be Vanuatu. I could get Vanuatu citizenship. 130 grand isn't that much money for me. I could easily get this passport and then flex it here on YouTube and say, oh, I got Vanuatu citizenship. But in my opinion, getting a Vanuatu passport just complicates your life unless you specifically want that passport. I'll tell you a client example of mine. I have a client from Europe. He's a European Union citizen. He has a solid passport. He can travel wherever he wants. He doesn't live in the country where he's a citizen. He actually lives in Latin America. And he wanted a second passport just to have a plan B, just to have something. And in Vanuatu, you can also pay in crypto for your citizenship. So this particular client was more just looking for a plan B citizenship where he could pay in crypto a small amount. He didn't want to get citizenship by exception and commit a lot of money to a country. He just wanted to get something, 130 grand, fast process. Let me get that Vanuatu passport. And in that case, it made sense. But for everybody else, the reputation of Vanuatu is very low. If you're looking for a passport with good visa-free access, then obviously that's not going to be one because you don't have access to the Schengen area anymore, no access to the UK if you care about that anymore. So, and a passport with a bad reputation around the world. Also, to open bank accounts, you might have some issues in some countries with a Vanuatu passport. So unless you have a very specific reason, you have a top tier passport and you're not worried about visa-free travel, you're not worried about getting a second passport because you want to move somewhere else or you want to have a second country you can call home. You just want a second document just in case and you want to get it fast because you can get it in around 3 months, then in those cases, it works out pretty well. Another example is an Australian client that I have, extremely wealthy client who actually lives in Vanuatu. I personally been to Vanuatu and I flew from Australia to Vanuatu and back from Vanuatu to Australia, and it was full of Australians. A lot of Australians live in Vanuatu. A lot of Australians vacation in Vanuatu. This specific client lives in Vanuatu more than 6 months per year, doesn't pay taxes because Vanuatu is tax-free essentially, tax-free on crypto, tax-free capital gains, tax-free personal income. You can live a tax-free lifestyle. And he got the citizenship in order to live there without a hassle, without getting a residency permit, so he can kind of do whatever he wants. So in that case, somebody living in Vanuatu and spending a good amount of time in Vanuatu also makes sense to get that passport. But for everybody else, I tend to recommend to spend a little bit more, get citizenship in the Caribbean, or spend a little bit more and get citizenship by exception in a place where they actually might use that country and they actually might use that passport more often. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Am I wrong? Am I right about any of my choices in this list? And if you want to see how we helped one of our clients get citizenship in less than 90 days, citizenship by exception, honorary citizenship in an amazing country, you can check out the video that's gonna pop up right here. Second citizenship in less than 90 days, the ultimate case study. Watch it right here.